Welcome to the fourth chapter of the Book of Micah. I woke up this morning, Saturday morning, the 6th, 7th of October 2023, checking the news and my emails, and I turned the news on, and Israel went to war. Whoa. It was attacked by the people that were in the Gaza Strip. It's called Palestine, Philistines in the Old Testament, and they've killed hundreds of Israelis, captured many, wounded thousands, and the Israelis are mad, and they're threatening to level Gaza. And so all of this I saw is like, whoa. And here I'm going into what's going on in the last days, as we will see in this chapter. When I was born from above, 1979, December the 30th, I went to a church that taught that Israel could do no wrong, that if you prayed for Israel, then good things would happen. You would be blessed, Israel, you'd be blessed. And I went along with that for quite a few years. But as I began these video seminars going through the Bible and seeing how many terrible things Israelis have done over the period of time in the Bible, I started questioning it. And then I got to the New Testament, and of course, the crucifixion of Jesus, and where they said, his blood be upon us and our children. So I'm looking at, well, all this period of time afterwards, they put the curse on themselves. And now many people, Christian teachers are teaching still Israel can do no wrong. But I look at Israel as not a friend of Christians. They have videos now of the Hasidic Jews spitting at Christians as they go by and so forth. And all sorts of things against the Christians. And I'm thinking that, well, they enjoyed having the Christians as long as they were getting support from the Christians, which they were, with all these ministers preaching that Israel can do no wrong. And they put a lot of money into Israel. But now Israel is stronger, and a lot of the conservative Jews want to get rid of the Muslims and the Christians and make it a Jewish-only state, and are having problems on the Temple Mount with the Dome of the Rock Mosque. This is Yom Kippur, Saturday, holy day of Israel, and many Jews went in there with these lulavs, these palms, into the Dome of the Rock Mosque area on the Temple Mount, and caused a big problem. And apparently that was what caused then these people in Palestine or Palestine to attack the Israelis. Now that's all. Now it's nighttime in Israel, and I don't know what's going to happen the next period of time. What's going on? Now, I suppose I could sit here and pontificate of what I think is going to happen and what they're doing that is wrong and so forth. Maybe I have a little bit already, maybe a little bit too much already. But let's see what God has to say about what's going to happen in the last of the days. So we'll go here, and it says, the last of the days. I'll read some of this in the Greek. And este ekaston ton imeron emphanes to oros kyriou, etimon epi tin korifin ton oreon, ke meteoris thisete iparano ton vunon, ke spevsusi pros avto lei. And it will be the mountain of the Lord will be apparent in the last days. The last days are a future event to even as I'm speaking, something that will happen. So it's going to be apparent. People will see these things that we're on the mountain of the Lord. Now, many people would teach that it would be Jerusalem. Might be, but in Ezekiel 40, verse 2, it says, "And it led me in a vision of God into the land of Israel, and put me upon an exceedingly high mountain, and upon it was as the construction of a city before me." Now, this is an exceedingly high mountain that's going to be apparent. To me, it's the same place. And then in Ezekiel 47:8, it continues, and it says, "And he said to me," this is the man directing Ezekiel, "this water going forth into Galilee towards the east," which came out of the temple, and it goes down into Arabia. So the water coming forth out of the temple of the city goes east into Galilee. Well, now, that is not Jerusalem. It can't be, because Jerusalem's way, way further south. So Mount Meron, as I've mentioned so many places, is the logical place for this to be occurring, the future city on the mountain. And it continues in verse 1, "And it shall rise up high above the hills, and peoples shall hasten to it, and shall say, Come, we should ascend into the mountain of the Lord, and unto the house of the God of Jacob." The house of the God of Jacob. And this is mentioned in Ezekiel 43:7, at that city that we mentioned just earlier here. And it says, "You see, O Son of Man, the place of my throne, and the place of the track of my feet, in which my name shall encamp into the midst of the house of Israel unto the eon." So there we are, the city of Ezekiel. And so right here, they're going to go to the house of the God of Jacob. And it says there, the midst of the house of Israel unto the eon. And they shall show us his way. And now, it says in Ezekiel 44:4, where this Ezekiel is showing the city, it says, "And I beheld, and behold, the house of the Lord was full of glory, and I fell upon my face." So this is the city that's on Mount Meron, I believe. "And then we shall go by his roads. They shall show us his way." We know the way. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And we are on the way. The early Christians were called the way. "And we shall go by his trivis, and his roads." In Isaiah 30, verse 10, it says, "The one saying to the prophets, Well, do not announce to us, and to the ones that see visions, do not speak to us, but speak to us and announce to us another addicting delusion, and turn us from this way. Remove from us this road, and remove from us the oracle of Israel." Well, they sure got their way. Now today, I don't see them going on the way. If you do, well, it's different. You see it differently than I do. I see them addicted to a delusion. Maybe their military is going to save them. Everything is going to be fine forever, the eternal Israel. And the road has nothing to do with Jesus. This is what I see. That is what they want. And then it continues, "For from out of Sion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from out of Jerusalem." Now, it doesn't mean that Zion and Jerusalem are the same. You could argue that they were. I don't think they are, because it says in Matthew 21 or 22:5, I didn't get it right here, "Say to the daughter of Zion, Behold, your king comes to you, gentle and being mounted upon a donkey and a foal, an offspring of a beast of burden." This was in John 12:15 also, a quote of Zechariah 9:9. Okay, so the daughter of Zion, your king comes, and is referring to Jesus, of course. Now, for from out of Zion shall go forth the law. Okay, so now we have Jesus in Zion, in Jerusalem. And then in Romans 9:33, it says, as it has been written, behold, I put in Zion a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, and all believing upon him will not be disgraced. And this is also mentioned in 1 Peter 2:6, and this is a quote of Isaiah 28:16. So Jesus is the stone of stumbling, of offense to the Jews, still is today. It hasn't changed. So why would Israel be this great country that everybody is supposed to support? Now, yes, the God of Israel we do support, and we know that God is of Israel, and this is Israel. So that part I do go along with. I want people to see the God of Israel as Jesus, and all the nations of the world and the people of the world to see that. Eventually they will. But right now, no. In Hebrews 12:21 it says, and so fearful was the visible display, and this is Hebrews in the New Testament, and Moses said, I am frightened and trembling. So the writer of Hebrews is not quoting it, but showing what Moses said. He's frightened and trembling because of all the things that he saw. But the writer of Hebrews says, but you, the believers, have come forward to Mount Zion. Huh? I've come forward to Mount Zion? I thought it was Jerusalem. No. And the city of the living God. Yeah, the city of the living God. Where have I come forward to that? Heavenly Jerusalem, and to myriads of angels. Heavenly Jerusalem. And we see that mentioned in Revelation 14:1. And I saw, and behold, a lamb standing upon Mount Zion. Now this is not Jerusalem. And with him 144,000, having his name and the name of his Father being written upon their foreheads. So this is Jesus in the future, I believe. And then verse 3, and he shall judge between many peoples, which Jesus does. Peoples are going to still be around, and shall completely refute strong nations unto afar. So a lot of things are going to be happening, and they shall cut their broadswords into plows, and their spears into sickles. And no longer should a nation raise up a broadsword against a nation, a time of world peace, and no longer should they learn to wage war. Well, that's not happening today. They just declared war. It's a future event, and this future event is going to be the time of Ezekiel's temple in on the Mount Meron, and I believe New Jerusalem will be there at the same time. Jesus and the believers will be in New Jerusalem, but the earth will still be there, and Jews will reinstitute the sacrifices in the temple. That's how I see it. In verse 4 it continues, and each shall rest underneath his grapevine, and each underneath his fig tree, and there shall not be one frightening them. For the mouth of the Lord Almighty spoke these things. It's going to happen. For the Jews, I hope so. I want to see the Jews see Jesus and be at peace with God. For all the people shall go each in his own way, but we shall go in the name of the Lord our God into the eon and beyond. So there are still going to be people going other directions, apparently. And then in verse 6 it continues, in that day, says the Lord, I will gather together her being broken and her being thrust away. So in the future, Israel will be broken again after the beast arrives, which could be soon. As soon as the temple is made in Jerusalem and the man of sin enters and claims that he is God, then the believers will be gathered together, and then all hell will break loose on the earth. Ezekiel 2, 2nd chapter. You can go through there and read all that. So after that, the Jews could be split all over the world for who knows how long, thousands of years. And then he says, and I will take in even whom I thrusted away. So God is going to be the one thrusting them away again. He's done it before, he can do it again. In verse 7, and I will make her being broken into a vestige. Eventually they will be a people. And her being thrust away into a mighty nation at the time of Mount Meron's city, possibly. And the Lord shall reign over them on Mount Zion from out of the present and unto the eon, the Mount Zion, New Jerusalem, I believe. Because it shows that. And if you're a Christian, you definitely want to pay attention to what the New Testament says, not just the Old. In verse 8 it changes. Now it says, and you, O tower of the flock, the people then that were Jews thinking everything was hunky-dory, today possibly again. Austere daughter of Zion, today. Unto you he shall come. Who's going to come? Jesus? Nope. And he shall enter, even the head of the foremost kingdom from out of Babylon, to the daughter of Jerusalem. And Nebuchadnezzar came and took them all away. They're going to be taken away again. Don't know who by, but... And now, why did you know bad things? Was not a king in you, or has your counsel perished? Yeah. For your pangs hold firmly as one giving birth. Oh, just like they are today. Travail and take courage, O daughter of Zion, as the one giving birth. For now you shall come forth from out of the city, and shall encamp in the plain, and shall come unto Babylon. Boy. From there he shall rescue you, and from there he shall ransom you. Who? The Lord your God, Jesus, from the hand of your enemies. And Jesus has ransomed all the Jews. They accept his ransom. And they can, or if you're Jewish, all you have to do is reach out for Jesus and start reading the New Testament and find out what he has planned for you. But it continues, and now many nations were assembled against you, saying, our eyes shall rejoice and scrutinize over Zion, Jerusalem, Zion today, possibly. They're happy about it, all these Muslim nations. They're celebrating to seeing all these people coming out of the Gaza Strip area, attacking and killing all these Jews. They're happy about it, celebrating. But, it says in 12, they knew not the devices of the Lord, and perceived not his counsel. So God is still in charge of Israel. I'm not saying that everybody in Israel is bad. No, I'm not. A lot of people there love God, and I'm not the judge. But God is the judge, and he will determine who it is. But so many places and so many times, what happens to these countries has to do with the top level. The top level is God and then Satan underneath in this battle between good and evil. And then it goes down to the heads, the nations of the world, and mainly to the strongest nations. And this is where this battle is, because the nations, the rulers of these nations, cause people to go to war. It's not the person at the bottom like me sitting here in my little place and say, oh, hey, I think we should go to war against Ecuador or whoever, come out of my own little idea. No, it happens at the very top level, and this is what's going on, and we don't see it at the bottom, but we see God's word, and that's what we're in now. And so they knew not his devices, nor do they today, for he gathered them as sheaves for the threshing floor. Oh man, all the Muslim nations, I believe, are in for a tough time. Rise up and thresh them, O daughter of Zion, for I will make your horns iron, and your hoofs I will make brass. Now that could be very well today. And I will dissolve many peoples, and you shall present to the Lord their abundance, even their strength to the Lord of all the earth. So the battle going right now, I believe, is going to be victorious for the Jews. But then after that, they could very well go to the Temple Mount like they have been and today, and they can go there and take over the Dome of the Rock Mosque, pull down the, what's that thing? It's the crescent off the top of it, tear down all the things of the Islam, and go in there and turn it into a temple. And they don't even have to build one. Everybody, all the Christians and these people are all, the Jews are going to build a temple. It doesn't say they're going to build a temple. It says there's going to be a temple. Now, this is my idea. I mean, I may be wrong on this. I mean, of course, I could be very wrong on it. But it's a possibility. I think about that because the Muslims did do that to St. Sophia Cathedral in Constantinople. Went in there and turned it into a mosque. So it would be only fair for the Jews to go in and turn the mosque into a temple. Chapter 5, the coming ruler. Oh, we want to find out who that is. Hope you join us. Chapter 5, find out. Till then, God bless.